Social Workers in India and Utkal University, Department of Social Work, Directorate of and Distance and Continuing Education. So, Dr. Jharna Swai is also additionally a professional counselor who is, as a counselor, is known all over Odisha. Now I request Dr. Swai to introduce our speaker. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Pradeep.
Can you switch on your camera, please? Jharna ma'am.
I will switch on my camera.
Yeah. You please switch on your camera. People should see you, man.
On, Achi. It is on now.
Now you are. Yes.
My camera is on.
Yes. Now your
Yeah,
camera
it is.
is on.
It is visible. It is visible.
Yeah,
Pradeep, it is visible.
You are visible. You are
Okay.
visible.
So I am audible.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So, dear friends, very good evening. I am, as Pradeep has already introduced, I am Dr. Jharna Swai, Secretary of SA. Welcome you all to Ganolog Special Lecture Series 4, conducted by Ganolog Trust in collaboration with National Association of Professional Social Workers in India and Odisha Professional Social Worker Association, Odisha, and Department of Social Work, Directorate of Distance and Continuing Education, Utkal University. So, Odisha to celebrate 5th National Social Work Week 2024. Today we have with us an eminent speaker, Professor Bharati Dogra. The Professor Bharati Dogra has 3 decades of experience in the field of education, starting from school education to conventional teacher education to teacher education through open and distance learning mode. Presently, Professor Dogra is working as a professor in the School of Education at Indira Gandhi National Open University, Delhi. In her career, Professor Dogra has developed a number of courses in ODL teacher education programs like alternative education, 4 EPC courses of BEd, and computer education of PGDEL. So presently, she is coordinating PGDEMA and PhD programs of School of Education. To her credit, she has published a number of journals, articles, and book chapters in different reputed journals and books. Out of her vast knowledge, experience, and understanding on mass education system in India and NEP 2020, today Professor Dogra will deliver on NEP 2020 opportunities and challenges before school education system. But on behalf of Ganolog Trust, NAPSI and EPSA and Utkal University and all the participants of today's lecture, I welcome Professor Dogra to the school to second lecture of Ganolog Lecture Series 4 and request to address the audience. So we are very happy to get you, madam, with us. Over to madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I am really grateful to you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for your kind words. Now, I would like to start this session, and as far as possible, I would like the session to be as interactive as possible. With the permission of the chair, either you can ask questions during the session as the chair permits, or you can write down the questions and we can have an interactive session at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Actually, ma'am, you
Now,
continue
as you
your,
all are,
ma'am, you
that's
just continue your lecture. At the end of the lecture, people will have their question. They can raise hand
okay.
and
No issues, no issues. So in that case, the participants can write down the questions as in when they think these are the appropriate questions, and later on they can ask. That is what is the protocol. We will have the protocol for this session. And now, as the title says, NEP 2020, Opportunities and Challenges Before School Education System. So now NEP 2020, as we understand that, it is a policy, although a number of policies have come earlier also, whether we talk about the 1966 Kothari Commission and then the 1968 policy, after that the 1986 policy, and now we have this 2020 policy. And as we all are aware that this policy plays an important role in transforming the entire education system, the focus for this session remains the school education. Now I have taken up, the some the first page from 1968 policy, 1986 policy, then the program of action 1992, and the latest one, the recent one, NEP 2020. When we see the NEP 2020, we find that this policy is divided into four parts. Now, the first part deals with the school education, because we need to know uh, in which part the school education is placed in the NEP 2020. So, first part deals with the school education. There is a lot of noise. I think some persons are to be muted. I don't know. Okay. So part one deals with the school education, part two deals with the higher education, part three is other areas of focus, and part four making it happen. As the session deals with school education, so we can understand that the part one of the NEP 2020 has all the recommendations related to school education. Now, here, I just kept one slide vacant just to discuss the problems of the school education in India, because NEP talks about various opportunities, then we find certain challenges also, then we can think of what strategies can be planned for addressing those challenges and for making optimum use of the opportunities provided in the school education. Now, as far as the problems of the school education are concerned, whatever problems I can think of, first of all, we find that there is the access to school education, and that to the good quality of school education is not, this access is not available to all the learners, especially to the learners coming from the rural India. So this is one problem, and we will see that how the NEP 2020 is going to point it out and how it is going to address this problem which we are facing in the field of school education in India today. So first remains the access to education. Second remains that our dropout rate is very high, and gross enrollment ratio. The gross enrollment ratio means how many students from that age group are enrolled in the schools as compared to the total population of that age group. So if, and then we multiply it by 100 and we get the GER, or gross enrollment ratio. So dropout rate is very high. First of all, enrollment is very low, and then the dropout rate is also very high. So this is another problem. Then we find that uh, students, they do not have the infrastructure facilities. No, schools, they should have laboratories, they should have classrooms, they should have the washrooms. So as far as the infrastructure facilities are concerned, we find that there are hardly any infrastructure facilities available. Then next comes the teachers. The teacher student ratio is very low. Another thing, the teachers are there, maybe one teacher in one school or two teachers in a school. So student ratio becomes very high. Then teachers are there, they are not trained properly because they are not being paid, a good salary. And good individuals or individuals with the good educational background, they are not attracted to the school education. Then if at all there are teachers, if they are trained, they require this professional development over a period of time, not giving them just one opportunity before joining the school, because there are new areas, and there are new what should I say, there are new changes in the field of education. So these teachers, they need to be updated that these are the changes, And these are the strategies through which you can bring changes, you can bring innovations, or you can bring transformation in the field of education. Now, if you talk to the teachers, especially from the rural area, we find that they are overburdened with different kinds of responsibilities, and there is hardly any time left, for teaching. They are given election duties, they are given many other responsibilities. So there are different types of problems which our school education is facing in India today. Now, as I mentioned in the last slide, that part 1 of NEP 2020, it deals, okay, uh, I have written by mistake School of Education. It is actually school education. So part 1 deals with school education, part 2 with the higher education, third is other key areas of focus, and part 4 is making it happen. Then the problems which I was discussing in the activity slide, I'll just repeat those points once again. Less expenditure on education, very low GER, gross enrollment ratio, underutilization of capacities of school learners, lack or poor infrastructure facilities, need to adopt public-private partnership models. That means the private enterprise need to be given an important role in the field of education. That means the private enterprise and the government institution, they need to work uh, hand in hand. They need to work together, because there is a lack of resources, there are lack of resources, and as long as possible we need to involve both of them. And student teacher ratio, as I mentioned in the last slide, it is very high. Then for maintaining the quality standards, some kind of branding and some kind of accreditation process is required, that at least some basic amenities, some basic standards are met by the schools. Then there is less emphasis on cognitive skills and learning outcomes. Cognitive skills, we understand the skills which are required for the cognitive functioning, for the brain functioning, for processing information. And learning outcomes are the outcomes, which we keep in mind before planning any activity. So we have these learning outcomes that we will be able to achieve these learning outcomes. So there is a very less emphasis on learning outcomes, and then there is high dropout rate. Now, after discussing the problems which we are facing in the field of school education in India, now I'm moving to NEP 2020. Now, NEP 2020, this was introduced for the transformation of the Indian education system. As far as I have gone through the document on the school education, I find that these three words, inclusive, flexible, and holistic, these three words are given importance. As far as the inclusive is concerned, inclusive means all the learners, when I say all the learners with special abilities, learners from different backgrounds, they all are to be taken together. So when we are designing learning, or when we are providing learning opportunities to our students or learners, we do not have to differentiate between learners. We have to take them together. Whether somebody who's intellectually challenged, somebody who's suffering from dyslexia, or somebody who has some other problem, or somebody who's coming from disadvantaged sections of the society, all these learners, they need to be taken together. And this is the whole idea of the inclusiveness. Girls, even the gender constraint we have to keep in mind. So when you take all the learners, teach them in the same class, provide them equal opportunity, not only equal opportunity to learn, but also to be successful. So if we find that there are certain gaps between the different learners, so then understanding those gaps, we have to address them. Now, the second most important feature as far as the school education is concerned, and that is what is recommended by NEP 2020, It is to be flexible. That means we cannot have the same curriculum for all the learners. The learners need to have the flexible curriculum, keeping in mind their needs. Another important feature of the NEP 2020, another key word is holistic. When I say holistic, holistic means it is not only the achievement in the exams of the learners which matters, it is also their emotional development, it is also their mental development, it is also their physical development, because the whole idea is that development is interrelated. So we are not going to focus only on the achievement part of the learning. That means they have done very well in the term and examination. So that is not the criteria of assessing learning or evaluating learning. Rather, taking the emotional development, the cognitive development, the mental development, the physical development, and also the social development. Social development is also equally important, because in different social situations we are expected to behave in a particular manner, or rather I will use a term that we are expected to behave in a socially acceptable manner. Our behavior in the classroom, our behavior in a family setting, our behavior in a peer group. So certain kind of behavior is expected from us, and that behavior should be socially acceptable. Therefore we find that the development is interrelated and it is holistic. Now I'm just want to focus on the some key areas mentioned in the school education part of the NEP 2020. Now there is a focus on the ECCE, that is early childhood care in education. When I talk about early childhood care in education, I'm talking about the what is the whole idea of ECCE, early childhood care in education. Again, here the focus is on the holistic development. It says that prior to primary education, the focus should be on the playway activities and also on the nutrition, and also providing the care of the health, and taking care of the learner, emotional health, nutrition of the child, and as far as the vaccination or other health concerns are there, they are equally important. How come this health care and the taking care of the nutrition is so important in education, that we have used the term early childhood care in education? Because if the nutrition is affected, and nutrition can affect the brain development, can cause different diseases. So in that case, if the brain development is affected, or if the child is not healthy, how can we expect that he can he or she can involve in the learning process, whatever learning is expected prior to primary education? Before entering the primary level, we have anganwadis and all. We have such centers where the health care is taken, the nutrition care is taken, and there is an emphasis on the play based learning. So ECC becomes very, very important, because the first few years of the childhood, they form the foundation of the entire life. And if the cognitive or the brain development or the health is affected, maybe because of the lack of nutrients, then the entire foundation is affected, and the child will not be able to focus on the learning. Therefore, we find a very special emphasis on ECCE in NEP 2020. Then we come to the curriculum and pedagogy reforms. Curriculum is the sum total of all the experiences which are provided to the learners. Sum total means the experiences which are provided in the classroom and also outside the classroom. When I say outside the classroom, right from the beginning, beginning of the day in the school, if I say assembly is there, so that assembly is also a part of the curriculum. That becomes co-curricular, but assembly is a part of the curriculum. Then the playground, the library, then participating in the activities of the debate club, or participating in the activities of the, what should I say, environment club. So all these experiences, directly or indirectly, they are related to the curricular experiences the child gains. So now NEP talks about various curricular and pedagogy. Pedagogy, when I say curricular, the sum total of experiences I've already mentioned, and pedagogy means how the curriculum is transacted to the learners. Means if I'm teaching a topic, if I'm a teacher in a class and going by the curriculum, suppose I'm teaching science. So what pedagogy I'm adopting means what method I'm adopting, whether I am taking them, suppose I'm teaching them about uh, plants. So I prefer taking my class 6 outside the classroom and showing them the plants in the garden. So so in this case, I'm providing them the real life experiences, so this becomes my pedagogy. If I'm taking to the lab, or if I'm taking them to some botanical garden, now this is a pedagogy, and the meaning of the pedagogy. So NEP talks about various pedagogy reforms also. Then assessment and evaluation. I understand that you people understand the differentiation between the assessment and evaluation. Uh, in case you have any doubt, you can ask a question later. So there are many assessment and evaluation system uh, changes, mentioned in the school education part of the NEP 2020. Then teacher training and professional development. Why is it so? Because teacher is the main instrument through which you want to bring transformation, innovation in your school education system. So if teacher is not properly trained, or teacher is not well equipped, or teacher is not given continuous professional development, then such kind of reforms are impossible. Then technology for education, we all have understood the importance of technology in the field of education, especially after facing COVID. We know that during COVID times, we have used technology for transaction of the curriculum in both classrooms, in schools, as well as at the higher education level. Now, schools to be learner centric with focus on critical thinking, creativity, and innovation. When I talk about critical thinking, creativity, and innovation, I'm talking about the higher order thinking skills. So we are actually showing a shift from the mere rote memorization or learning, memorizing it, memorization, to critical thinking. Critical thinking, when where you do not accept, if something is given to me, or some information is passed to me, I will not accept it without you know uh, finding about it. I will gather more information. I will analyze it. I will think about it, that is it possible. So I will gather information from other sources, critically analyze, and then only I will accept. Not in the face of, not just this information is given by an elder or by teacher, so I will accept it. I will analyze it from my perspective. I will gather information from other sources, and then only this information will be accepted. Creativity means doing things in new and innovative ways, and innovation. So, NEP talks about all these points. Then, aims and objectives of NEP 2020. If I take inclusiveness, I've already discussed, taking all the learners together. Equitable means equal opportunity, quality education, and 100% literacy by 2030. Then critical thinking, I have already discussed the higher order thinking skills. Holistic development is another objective. I have already mentioned holistic means physical, mental, emotional. So when we and mental also. So when we take the development as an interrelated process, and not only the achievement at the end of the examination, at the end of the session, then that becomes holistic development. We talk about flexible curriculum, and multidisciplinary is a new term which I have not mentioned yet. Technology. Now, what is multidisciplinary? I can use another term, interdisciplinary. What we do here is, I have taken few examples. One example in the next slide to explain what is multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary means if I have to understand any topic, any area, there is a possibility that I can take input from different disciplines. I can understand a topic. Suppose I take pollution, which is, school, which is discussed in the school level disciplines. If I take pollution, so pollution is a topic which can be covered in the biology. Pollution is a topic which you will find in social studies, okay, geography, and pollution is a topic which you will also find in chemistry. So, just covering this topic in biology is not enough. If I have to understand this topic, I can get the input from chemistry. If I see chemistry, I find that pollution is being discussed as far as the gases are concerned, that carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide or nitrogen dioxide, the concentration of these gases, it increases in the atmosphere, causing pollution. So I get this kind of input. And the students are also given some kind of projects in, let's say, in chemistry, that we get the pollution check done for vehicles. So students can be given this project that while you're going for the pollution check for your vehicle, in case you have a vehicle, otherwise you can see the pollution check done for the vehicles, maybe of your friends or neighbors. So then see that the pollution check is done, and then which gases are written in the card, and what is the concentration of the gases, and what is a normal concentration, and do you find the concentration of the some of the gases has increased, and then how they have given the feedback. So this kind of project is given to the students. So this is one thing. When I come to the biology, I'm discussing the term pollution. So I find that pollution here is discussed, that what is pollution, how pollution is caused, how the cutting of the trees. So it is related to the cutting of the trees, and also mining. So you find that uh, urbanization, mining, deforestation. So you will find all these factors, and you will find that how there is a symbiotic relationship between the trees and the human beings, and how cutting of the trees is going to affect ultimately the atmosphere and the human beings. So this kind of relationship you will find in the biology, but the topic remains the pollution. So then if we come to the geography, you will have the climatic factors, so discuss in that perspective. But our awareness, our knowledge about pollution remains incomplete if we study in one discipline. That is why comes the concept of multidisciplinary learning, that you need to learn from the inputs of different discipline. So if I study pollution from the perspective of biology, from the perspective of chemistry, from the perspective of geography, then this becomes my multidisciplinary learning. So there's a lot of emphasis on multidisciplinary learning in NEP 2020. Okay. Now I'm coming to the key NEP 2020 highlights. This point I have already discussed, that by 2030, NEP 2020 aims to ensure that every child in India has access to education, whether we are talking about pre-primary to secondary. So we can say that from the age of 3 to the age of 18. Earlier we were talking about up to class 8. Now NEP, the difference, lies in this point, that NEP talks about providing access to education from the age of 3 to age of 18, not up to class 8, but up to class 12. So by 2030, the policy targets a 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education. And as I have already discussed the inclusion, so it emphasizes the inclusion of children from socioeconomically. Obviously, it is not possible to have 100% GER unless and until you enroll children from all sections of the society. That means you have the inclusion. Unless and until the inclusion is done, we cannot achieve the target of 100% GER by 2030. Now, another point, because I'm discussing the key points. So, another point which is a highlight of the NEP 2020 is a uh, new structural arrangement suggested. That is a new pedagogical and curricular structural arrangement suggested, which is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So, 5 initial years, they come under foundational stage, and out of 5 also, first 3 years, I was talking about the ECCE, I was talking about the pre-primary. So out of the first 5, 3 years will be spent in the ECCE or pre-primary education, that is in Anganwadis or in preschool or in Balvatikas, that is from age 3 to 6. Because we are starting from the age 3, 3 plus 3, 6. So 3 to 6. So initial 3 years, pre-primary years. The next 2 years, that is class 1 and 2. So 3 plus 2 years, they form the foundational stage. Next comes the preparatory stage. That means next 3 years, class 3, class 4, class 5. They become a part of the preparatory stage. Then next 3 years from class 6 to 9 forms the middle stage. And the last 4 years, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, forms the secondary stage. So this new, what should I say, the new structure of school education is suggested by the NEP 2020. And this is very important. So this is a new one. And earlier it was 10 plus 2. So 10 up to class 10th means age 6 to 16, and the last senior secondary, that is age 16 to 18. So now we find the complete transformation of the structure. This again I have shown here that preschool plus grade 1 and 2, which I discussed just now, 5 years of foundation stage, then preparatory stage grade 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 middle, and the last 4 years, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, is the secondary. Now see how this structure, the structure which is given by the NEP 2020. So how, we are uh, seeing, how we are visualizing the curriculum and the pedagogy at different stages. So first 5 years, where we have 3 years for the pre-primary and 2 years for class 1 and 2, here you are not going to teach them something. The entire focus remains on the play based activity. Playway learning means they will learn through the playway method and also through the activity based learning. Then comes the next 3 years for the preparatory stage. And what is visualized for this second stage, here the some emphasis on the experimental learning. And the experimental learning can be, that means they can conduct some experiments in the field of arts, science, mathematics and languages, because by the time this preparatory will be over, their primary education will be over. So what is expected of them, then that they will be engaged in certain experiments in arts. They can do some artwork, and they can also do some scientific experiments, and maybe some language learning, and also some mathematical games. So they can be involved in all these activities. Then next comes the next 3 years. That is, in the previous system, it was up to elementary stage. By the time the children were finishing their class 8, that means they were finishing their elementary stage. So during this stage, because they are a little bit grown up and now they have to be prepared for the secondary stage. So here, what was expected or what is visualized by the NEP 2020, that from class 6th, that is class 6th, 7th and 8th, here, some abstract concepts can be introduced. Abstract concept means some such physics, like some physics concepts, or maybe some such ideas which are not visible in day-to-day life, and you have to visualize them. You don't have those objects in your surroundings, and when we talk about those objects, means you have to visualize them, you have to think about them. And then comes the last stage of 4 years, that is secondary stage. And obviously at this time we have to give them more flexibility regarding the choice of the subjects. Now, another key point of the NEP 2020 is the foundational literacy and numeracy. You understand what is literacy and what is numeracy. I have shown the numbers, I have shown the alphabets. So, foundational literacy and numeracy. So, how this needs to be done, that now the whole idea of NEP 2020 is this, that they will be able to obtain foundational literacy and numeracy by grade 3. Grade 3 means the beginning of the preparatory stage. Preparatory stage is from 3 to 5. So what is visualized here is that by the beginning of the preparatory stage, by 2026-2027, they will be able to attain the foundational literacy and numeracy. And for this, another initiative has been started, that is Nipun Bharat Mission. And another uh, initiative is National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, so as to systematically address these basic educational needs. There is also a emphasis on learning the language during the initial stages and also on the mathematical skills. Now, there is an emphasis on teacher training. Teacher training through CPD, we talk about the continuous professional development programs. We also talk about multidisciplinary training to be included in the teacher training, online teacher training, so that they can learn the digital skills, teacher recruitment and retention, and teacher empowerment. Teacher recruitment and retention is possible in case they find this profession to be satisfactory, and teacher empowerment is important. So we are moving to teacher empowerment. Now, as far as the teacher training is concerned, we find that there is an emphasis on the enhancing the standards of the teacher education, and also teacher education could be the pre-service teacher education or in-service teacher education, and also CPD, continuous professional development of teachers. Then it is also proposing a comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education. There should be another comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education, and also the CPD, that is continuous professional development programs. So teachers should be well prepared and motivated and supported in their careers. Now, another point which I would like to mention, that the ITIP, Integrated Teacher Education Program after class 12th, Integrated Teacher Education Program of 4 years. That is also emphasized in NEP 2020 because I'm talking about the teacher education. So I need to mention here the introduction of the 4-year Integrated Teacher Education Program. Now I'm coming to the use of languages. So as far as the language practice is concerned, NEP 2020 has recommended 3 language formula. The 3 language formula was recommended by earlier commissions also. If I see the Kothari Commission 1966, there is a mention of 3 language formula, and it was implemented also, and there were many controversies, but because of various obstacles, it could not be implemented in the right spirit. So we find a mention of the 3 language formula once again in NEP 2020, and we find that I've just taken the main highlights. I'm not discussing the 3 language formula in detail. If I take the main highlights, mother tongue as medium of instruction up to 8th grade, both in private and public schools. So mother tongue, it's there in 1966 commission also. And 3 language formula, at least 2 should be the native Indian languages. Then the third could be English, or third could be other foreign language. And bilingual teaching, there is an emphasis on that. And development of bilingual textbooks, focus on Indian classical languages. Sanskrit is a Indian classical language, and there is also emphasis on the Indian sign languages. So these are the major highlights of the 3 language formula, which is included in NEP 2020. Now I have taken some more points, that to foster linguistic, because in our country, language always imposing any language always brings controversies and conflicts also. So we find that when we talk about the use of many languages, multilingualism. So we find that it needs to be done right from the early childhood. That means ECCE, it should start from that pre-primary stage. And children be taught in their mother tongue or some regional language until they reach the grade 5. Additionally, it also encourages the learning of three languages so that the local, national, and international. Because if you're taking, one as a mother tongue, second language as a regional language, and third, some foreign language. So the balance between the local, national, and international languages can be maintained. Now, another highlight, which I talked about in the beginning is assessment reforms. We find that assessment earlier, we were talking about assessment of learning. Then the shift was from assessment of learning to assessment for learning. Then from assessment for learning, we are now moving to assessment as learning. So the assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. This is a shift. So we find that NEP talks about formative competency-based assessment, promoting learning and development of students, assessment for learning, uh, testing higher order skills, not only testing knowledge, but even the question paper or the activities which are designed in the class. They should also assess the higher order thinking skills of the students and helping the entire schooling system in revisiting continuously teaching learning processes to optimize learning. Okay. So shift from rote memorization to competency-based assessment. When I say competency, competency means it is performance related. If I say performance-based assessment, that means if my objective is that the students will be able to, set up, they will be able to set up the demonstration, or they will be able to, some kind of storytelling, some kind of, where they are performing. So performance based assessment, and performance requires knowledge, understanding, skills, all together. Then another recommendation is a new National Assessment Center, PARAK. So PARAK is an acronym. If I expand, so first P is for performance, A is for assessment, R is for review, and analysis of knowledge for holistic development. So that is the meaning. So it has recommended the establishment of PARAK. So student assessments need to be more comprehensive and reflective of a student's overall development. This is multidisciplinary. When I was talking about multidisciplinary, I was discussing objectives. I was discussing aims and objectives of NEP 2020. There I have mentioned the multidisciplinary learning. See how, if I take a theme, the learning of that theme can be done from the inputs given by different disciplines. This is the whole idea of the multidisciplinary learning. I explain this with the help of an example of pollution. I have taken another example here. Like if I have to understand the adolescence, adolescence is the transition phase between childhood and adulthood. So if I have to understand the stage of adolescence, I can get inputs from sociology, I can get inputs from physiology. Physiology means biology because there are biological changes involved, hormonal changes, and hormonal changes, they manifest themselves as external sexual characteristics. So physiology helps here. Sociology helps because if the social setting is not coherent, then that puts a strain on the adolescents. If the demands in a social setting are unreasonable and they do not match with the needs or the needs of the adolescent, then there is always a strain, and their transformation from the childhood, because it is a transition phase, the childhood and the adulthood. So this transition is not smooth if there are constraints or if there are some kind of conflicts in the social settings. Sociology talks about the social situations. Okay, so by mistake I have written here physiological. It should be psychological. So there are psychological inputs also which need to be taken for understanding adolescence, because here I have read the Erickson's theory, which talks about identity crisis, which talks about how the adolescents they form their identity. So here the role of psychology comes. Economic, because as far as the economic criteria is concerned, we expect that by the time they shift from the childhood to the adulthood, they should be able to earn. They should be independent. So there are so many inputs which we get from sociology, from physiology, from psychology, from economics, that our understanding is holistic in case we can get the inputs from different disciplines, and this is what is multidisciplinary learning. Now I'll take up these points fast. The benefits are equitable access, because I told you that by 2030 children from the age of 3 to 18 they will be able to get access to high quality education, and inclusion of children from inclusion of students or learners from all sections of the society. So holistic development, flexibility in learning, and improved learning outcomes. Whenever we design any learning, we write the learning outcomes first. This means that we will be able to achieve these learning outcomes. Learning outcomes, I can write that students will be able to learn the definition of pollution. Students will be able to, set up, make a model of pollution, something like that. I will write the outcomes in the beginning of my teaching learning situation. And by the time, my lesson is over, or my if my lesson is taking 2 or 3 classes, so I should be able to achieve my learning outcomes. If my lesson finishes in 3 periods, 3 classes, so I should be able to achieve my learning outcomes by the end of the third class. Inclusivity and equity, I've already talked. Equitable, same quality, good quality of education to all, and bringing learners together. Now, transformation of school education by NEP 2020. So, NEP 2020, if we see, we find that it's a very good vision. They have given a good vision for the school education, and they have revised many things. And not only that, it has brought a very fundamental change in the entire school education system. There are new opportunities for school, and effort is made for equitable and high quality education for all. Now I'm coming to the opportunities. First of all, ensuring access to all the children from ages 3 to 18, whether they are coming from the public school or from private school, by 2030. This is the first thing. So for achieving this objective, we can understand that there is an initiative that special education zones will be set up, increased access to open and distance learning. Why open and distance learning? Because the conventional schools, the normal schools, they may not be able to provide education to all. So we need the help of open and distance learning, like we have NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling. So that kind of arrangement is required for providing education to all. And gender inclusion, because I'm talking about inclusivity. So gender inclusion fund is required so that there should be a reduction in the dropouts and increased number of options for students coming from the socially and economically disadvantaged groups. Then another opportunity which is provided by the NEP 2020 is more holistic competency driven learning. Competency, I told you that it's a performance based learning. So activity based experiential learning, that is to be used. Then we need a change in the curriculum and pedagogy need to be more flexible, and more emphasis on the cognitive skills, mathematical and computational skills. And 21st century, I was talking about the higher order thinking skills like problem solving, creative thinking, team leadership, so negotiation. All these are 21st century skills. So we need to focus on these 21st century skills. Then assessment, we have already discussed that there are many assessment reforms. And assessment reforms, there is a switch from the annual examination to a system of formative assessment. And students, especially students studying in the class 10th, what was happening earlier whatever marks you achieve after the class 10th examination, those marks are considered. Now what is less emphasis on the marks obtained in the 10th class term and examination, but multiple assessments will be done throughout the year. So the marks obtained at the time of the term and examination, that will not be the entire, criteria. There will be multiple ways of assessing the child, because we are focusing on the higher order thinking skills. We are focusing on the competencies. Therefore, multiple ways of assessing the child throughout the year. And then these marks plus marks obtained at the end of the 10th class, they will be taken together. Then resource efficient, open and accountable education system. Here, because we have we have shortage of resources. So what it is talking about, it is talking about making clusters of schools or making school complexes, so that the schools, which are falling in a cluster, they can share their resources, and there will be a collaboration, and these schools can work together and can help each other. This is the whole idea of forming the school clusters or complexes. Now, what are the challenges? So far, we have discussed the opportunities, but there are many challenges also. So, let's talk about that. When you have to implement a policy in India at such a large scale, okay, and we are covering so many areas, so you require investments, and not only you require investments, we require the cooperation between the central and the state governments, because these are to be implemented both at the state level and also at the at the center. Therefore, a collaboration, a cooperation between the central and the state governments is required, and also between the private and the public institutions. So this is the main requirement and main challenge for the implementation of the recommendations of NEP 2020, especially in the field of school education. Then not only we require collaboration, we also require funding, we require money. And one more point I discussed, that there should be a private enterprise. We need to involve the private enterprise in the field of education. So PPP model is required. Another recommendation is establishment of the National Research Foundation for funding. But how this will be established, how it will be funded, how it will work, there are no clear guidelines in the policy. Then the implementation of the three language formula, which I have already discussed with you, it's again it's a major challenge. It was recommended in 1966 also. So after so many years, that means almost 57 years plus, we have not been able to implement, because whenever you say that mother tongue is to be studied or regional language is to be studied, there is always some kind of opposition from the people. Teacher training, I'm talking about the teacher training, the CPD, continuous professional development. So policy emphasizes need for the teacher training. There are several challenges, because the if see whatever system we have, either uh, that system needs to be revamped, that system needs to be transformed. Assessment, as far as the assessment is concerned, we again require resources. If you have to conduct activities, or if you have to involve the students throughout the year through multiple ways of assessment methods, it again requires, first of all, understanding of the assessment system on the part of the teachers, on the part of the parents, on the part of the students. And then its implementation again requires resources, and especially we have lack of resources in rural areas. Inclusion is the main highlight of the NEP 2020 in the field of school education. So, for inclusion, you have to overcome all types of inequalities, the gender concerns, socio-economic and regional disparities. Then PPP model I'm talking about. When you involve the private enterprise, we find that it can lead to commercialization, and there are always insecurities to the public system whenever the private enterprise enters into the field of education. Now, some strategies I'll very fast I'll sum up, so that you should have plenty of time for asking questions. So first strategy is increasing access to education. Okay? So this is the main highlight, that we by 2030 we have to provide education to all the children from the age 3 to 18. So this is the main challenge, that how to provide education to the children coming from the marginalized communities, disadvantaged sections, how to provide funds for them, especially in the rural areas. So government here has to involve the private sector so that the infrastructure can be improved and better resources can be provided. ECCE is another highlight. So importance of early childhood care in education, and we have to provide infrastructure in Anganwadi centers and schools, and introduce play based and activity based learning. This is very important because this forms the foundation of the uh, entire life, and the learning throughout the life. Then using many languages, this is another important point. So at least NEP ने जो NEP has recommended that 3 language formula, and promoting the mother tongue as a medium of instruction at least up to the grade 5. So government can promote this by encouraging schools to use the local language as a medium of instruction, and creating resources for teachers to teach in multiple languages. The teachers need to be trained for using multiple languages. Now, this we have seen that during COVID-19, we were very ill prepared for using technology. Therefore, we realized that this digital divide is there, and teachers need to be prepared to teach through the use of the technology. And the government can invest in providing digital infrastructure in the schools and resources to schools, especially in the rural areas. Strengthening teacher training, because abhi just now we were talking about the structure 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, and at every stage I have mentioned that in the initial stage play based learning, then experimental learning, then training in the abstract concepts, then in the specialization. So when there are different stages and there are different expectations, how these expectations can be fulfilled if the teachers are not prepared for it? So we have to prepare the teachers for providing the assistance or facilitating the learning of the school children at different stages, that is foundational, preparatory, middle and secondary. They need to be given training to handle these children and to provide them the required experiences. The 4-year integrated program, I'm talking about this slide. And holistic development, I've already discussed. And how is holistic development possible? See, how is emotional development possible? If a child is given different types of opportunities. If a child is given because every child is unique, every child has some potential. The child may be very good in music, may not be good in these sports activities. So when children are provided different activities, they are provided music opportunities, they are provided debating opportunities, they're providing writing, painting, sports. So what is required for the holistic development? That provide them as many opportunity to succeed as possible, so that when they perform, they succeed, they feel good. And there should be mental health facilities in each and every school. That's all for today. Now you are most welcome to ask questions. Uh, yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for
I
such
hope
a
I was
nice.
audible.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now I request audience, if you have any question or any doubt, kindly raise your hand and ask the question.
May I ask, sir?
Yes, any question?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
namaste.
Yes.
I'm Josna, and I'm attending the session from Paradip, Odisha, from Paradip, and I am beside the sea. I'm living in Silchar. So, ma'am, the biggest fraction that ever arrived, actually, it is NEP 2020. Now, ma'am, it is 2024. Ma'am, I want to know in implementation where we stand now.
Okay, so as far as the implementation at IGNOU level is there, in my institution,
Mm.
see, depends. I think I'm getting an input from various institutions that they are implementing the recommendations of NEP 2020. Okay. See, my topic today was school education. Clear? My topic
Yeah.
was school education. So, but if I take higher education or if I take Indira Gandhi National Open University, we started ITEP 2 years back. We started
Right.
that integrated teacher education
My
program
question is,
two
do we need
two
to
years.
begin implement? Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, we have already started, and we have also proposed many CPT programs for teacher education, continuous professional development program. Even um, I have also suggested 2 courses which I am going to start soon. It's
Because,
being
ma'am,
done.
what my question, yeah, what exactly is the implementation beginning from the preparatory or the children who are just beginning in the primary or pre-primary stages, or it should begin in all the stages? Because, ma'am, when we are giving trilingual condition of education, are we using any session in trilingual? Are we making any question paper which is trilingual? Are we actually promoting our mother tongue in any of the meetings? Do we actually
No,
promote
I
it
think
in
mother tongue.
our
I think
parliament?
if you see the
Do we
recommend.
actually use it at present? How it will come to act, ma'am?
See, three language formula is not a new thing. It's already being implemented. It's already being implemented. If you see the Kothari Commission, it has clearly
It was
highlighted,
there. I am a
and
KVI, so I
it has
know
also given the
that
recommendation that if there are
it
certain
was
controversies, then how to
there.
deal them.
Yeah.
मैम यू आर नॉट क्लियरली ऑडिबल, आपका ना आवाज ब्रेक होके आ रहा है मुझे. हेलो. I think if the problem is there,
Yes, ma'am.
you can switch off your camera. If
Video.
the
Yeah, yeah.
ha
Yes, ma'am.
bandwidth problem is there.
Yeah. So, ma'am, what I want to say is that this trilingual system should be implemented in every stage. Now, suppose we are taking a class, suppose we are making a session, suppose there is any parliamentary session going on,
I I
this
I
particular,
cannot hear anything. Your voice is not
I'll give in
audible.
writing. Hello?
And it's not, using all the three languages at the higher education. If you see the recommendation, you will find use of English. You have to see
For
the
higher language.
recommendation.
Hmm.
It's not
To
using all
make
the three
them
languages.
understand in early stages teaching learning, to make them easy, I think it is recommended for beginners, those who come to school first.
See, you start with the mother tongue because that is the language spoken at home. So, as far as possible,
Yeah.
efforts should be made to provide, teaching, learning, instruction in the mother tongue because then the child can pick up very fast. Then slowly, once, the child is comfortable in one language, then the second language, which could be a regional language of the state, can be introduced.
Yes, ma'am.
And then English
And
can
then
be
we can shift
introduced.
to official language. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Josna Das. Now I request Vijay Pratap. Yes, Vijay Pratap. Please unmute yourself. If possible, you can also switch on your camera.
Because bandwidth problem is there.
थैंक यू सर। मैम, मेरा नाम विजय है, मैं रांची से हूँ। आपका सेशन बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत ही इंसाइट मिला आपके सेशन से। तो इसके लिए आपको थैंक यू। मेरा एक कंसर्न था मैम, आपने 21st सेंचुरी स्किल्स की बात की है, तो उसको मुझे थोड़ा और समझना है, वो एग्जैक्ट है क्या?
If you search on the internet, you will find all the 21st century skills are given in the CBSE document. They have prepared a material. If you search the CBSE website also, you will find that they have developed a material to be used by all the teachers, and that material is exclusively on 21st century skills. Not only the skills names are mentioned, they have also given examples. Okay, if you see but I can tell you the names like problem solving. It's problem solving means you solve day-to-day life problems. Okay, day-to-day life problems, they could be very simple or they could be very complex ones. Complex problems means, I'll tell you give you the example. For example, a family member is suffering from a disease. Okay, so that is a situation which is being faced. We can face that situation once in a while. So we have to find out that how to cope up with the stress, how to go for the diagnosis, how to arrange the funds. Clear? Then how to provide care to the patient. So that is also a complex problem in a day to day, not very common, but we can face that problem. Or a very simple problem for a child, a young child, that going to a shop and buying something, and doing the money transaction. So that's a simple problem, but you can have a very complex problem also. So that is problem solving. So how to solve the problem and solving it realistically, realizing your strengths and weaknesses and then resolving it. You go to the CBSE website, you will find one booklet where they have mentioned, I think I saw it 3-4 years back, and they have all the 21st century problem skills, and they have also given the situation where these skills can be used. I'll give you another skill of negotiation, especially used by the adolescents, children in the, let's say, in the age group of 10 to 19. Adolescents are from 10 to 19. Now, what is negotiation? They love the peer group. Adolescents, we also love our peer group, and we are also sometimes under pressure. Peer group tells us that let's hang out, let's spend money, let's go to a restaurant, or wasting your time when you are in class 11th or 12th, when you have to prepare for your exams. You're hanging out with your friends, then falling in the trap of maybe drugs, alcohol. So all these pressures are there. Now, what is a negotiation skill? You want to be a part of the peer group, but you don't want to fall under that pressure. So how will you negotiate with your peer group? मतलब अपने इस प्रेशर में रहते हुए कि कहीं हमारा पीयर ग्रुप मुझे छोड़ ना दे, है ना? Because I or adolescents, they have this pressure. If I say no, it is quite possible they may leave me. I will not be able to go with them. So because of this pressure, they say yes to everything which the group says. So in such a case, negotiation helps, that how under pressure also I have to learn to be assertive and negotiate and say no. Clear? That is a negotiation and also assertiveness. Then there is a skill called leadership. Then there is a skill called critical thinking. There is a skill called creative thinking. There are many skills. And you will also find the situations where they can be used. अब मैं आपको बताती हूँ क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग कैसे इंपॉर्टेंट है. कोविड के टाइम आपके आसपास, if the people are not wearing the mask, clear? So others are not wearing, why should I wear? Okay, I am doing what others are doing without realizing that it is very harmful. So I should be able to analyze situation on my own. I should be able to see my own perspective. I should be able to see how I will be benefited if others are doing that hardly makes any difference. I should be able to take a stand for myself. Clear? Then there is a skill called decision making. Decision making is very important. Class 12th के बाद, class 10th के बाद, you should be able to decide your specialization. Not because your friends are taking science, so you will also take science. You should be able to choose science because you like it and you feel that you are capable of performing in if science is taken. So decision making is very important. Decision making at the time of deciding your stream, decision making even at the time of your wedding. Whole life you have to take the decisions. Choosing a wrong partner means spoiling your whole life. Choosing a career, isn't it? So right decision is very important. Yes,
Yeah,
any other
thank you,
question?
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you, Vijay. Now I request Sarita Patnaik. Unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am. Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, yeah. Ma'am,
Yes,
my
audible.
question, I want to ask a similar kind question that Jharna ma'am has asked. If we are confident about our tri-language learning, I mean, if I am into this teaching profession since 8 to 9 years, and since 2014, 15, they are mostly emphasizing on this activity based learning, where students critical thinking, design thinking, everything will be improved. But still, when I see my relatives kid, they are even they are getting trained by the French or Spanish, etc. However, if in government schools we are if we will observe, till now, up to graduation also, there is no scope that they can take any other foreign language than English. However, globalization and moving to out of countries even will help them for leading a better livelihood. So are we failing in this kind of system, that we are not even providing our graduates, government student graduates, for another foreign language study?
No, but learning French or any other language, does that mean that we are advanced? It talks about a foreign language. I think English is good enough. Why? Because at higher education level, you need the knowledge of English. When you go to research, all the literature, uh, research literature is available in English. I think learning one language is one foreign language, that too English, is enough. Then you, if you have interest and if you have time to invest, other languages can be learned on your own through your own efforts. See, we are not talking about, too many things at the same time. It mainly talks about mother tongue, regional language, and the English, mainly English, because that
Ma'am,
knowledge is required.
that doesn't give them the exposure of going out of India. I mean, if
No, my
uh,
friends have gone to German, they learned German there only. See, when a situation demands something, you learn. But preparing yourself for German language when you are not even exposed or when you don't have any opportunity of visiting German, what's the use of it? Tell me. When you have chances that in the near future you will be visiting German, so you will learn German either before visiting the country or after visiting the country. I have a student, Nidhi Rana, who visited German. She speaks now German fluently. She could learn it in 1.5 years, isn't it? Because mainly it is the communication, for communication purpose English is sufficient. But when you visit a country where a particular language learning is required. So anything, which is any demand, which is there for us to survive, we learn. But just, learning German while staying in India, how can this help? Only, you can translate from English to German or German to English and can earn something. So any situation, if puts you in a particular demand, it's a demanding situation. I feel this is my perspective. Your perspective may be different from mine, Sarita.
No, ma'am, no, not in. Yeah, nowadays, I'm
मतलब
just.
देखो Sarita, there are so many things to learn ना. So why they are saying 3? Because they feel कि भैया there should be local भी है, national level पे उसमें हिंदी भी आ जाती है और local level के mother tongue सीख लेते हो. So there is a local influence, there is a national influence, there is a international influence. तो 3 languages से वो तीनों चीजों का एक balance हो जाता है. You can understand the culture. बट उससे ज्यादा तो बहुत मुश्किल है. उसके लिए तो ये है कि व्हेन आई वाज स्टडीइंग इन यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली, just next to my college there was foreign language center. So many of the students, they were attending the classes in the college, and then there were classes for 1 or 2 hours and they were attending the foreign language classes there. But accommodating, another foreign language in the school curriculum is a bit difficult. It's not that it is not being introduced. I have seen in many schools they are introducing second foreign language also, but introducing. See, we are talking about the basic things first, isn't it?
Yes,
From
ma'am.
basic, achieving the basic levels is so difficult, Sarita. So, how can we move from basic to advanced? That will take a lot of time. First, we must achieve the basic things, basic infrastructure, teachers, books, and food, midday meals for the students. These are our basic amenities. Then, you can move to the advanced once you have achieved that. The size is so large that any kind of recommendation, puts a lot of demands, strains, there is a lot of demand for money, funding. That is where we are talking about the PPP model,
Yes, ma'am.
private
Yes.
enterprise.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sarita.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone? Vijay? Any questions? Vijay Pratap, you want to add and ask any questions?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
ma'am.
So
Namaskar, ma'am.
Pradeep, Dr. Pradeep's mobile is getting the slow down because of his battery is not working. So I will coordinate henceforth. Please, anyone want to ask questions? You can raise your hands.
Yeah, hello, good evening, ma'am. I am Praveen Kumar Madhu from Patna, Bihar.
Yes,
I
yes.
just want to know from where on or from which website we can get national curriculum framework for foundational stage, school education, and the teacher education and adult education, all for NCF. I want to get from which
Praveen,
website we can.
you just write NEP 2020. Okay, these are
Yes.
the keywords. You will get a document which I have also downloaded, and I think there are 67 pages in that. And in those 67 pages, you will find everything.
There is NCF in four NCF is also there.
4 NCF अभी draft forms में है. They are not
Okay.
finalized. They are not finalized.
They all are in under drafting.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. नमस्ते. बलराम सामल फ्रॉम दिस साइड. मैम मैं ओडिशा से हूँ. एक तो मतलब आपको बहुत बहुत थैंक यू बोलना चाहूँगा कि आपने इस टॉपिक पे जो भी डिस्कशंस किए, मतलब NEP 2020 जो है वो एक एक ऐसा टॉपिक है, मतलब जितनी बार उसको पढ़ता हूँ या फिर जितनी बार सुनता हूँ, पता नहीं क्यों वो हर बार अच्छा लगने लगता है और हर बार उससे कुछ नया मिलता जा रहा है। तो दूसरा का तो पता नहीं, लेकिन हाँ मैं बोलूंगा कि एनईपी जो था हमारे लिए एक टाइम चेंजिंग, जो जिसको बोलते हैं हम, कि एक टर्निंग पॉइंट था हमारे लिए। आई वॉज ए पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रेनिंग मॉड्यूल ऑफ एफएलएन। तो जब फर्स्ट फेज में एफएलएन का ट्रेनिंग चल रहा था, तब मैं उसका एक पार्ट रह चुका हूँ। और उस टाइम पे एनईपी को पढ़ने का पहली बार मौका मिला। तो उस टाइम से पता नहीं कई बार वो मौका मिला है कहीं पे डिलीवर करने के लिए, ट्रेनिंग करने के लिए, सेशंस लेने के लिए। लेकिन वो ये जो ट्राइलिंगुअल की बात हो रहा है, वो मतलब अभी जाके थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आया है। लेकिन उस टाइम पे जब हम समझ रहे थे, तो ये था कि किसी भी लैंग्वेज को मतलब किसी भी 3 लैंग्वेज को हमें समझना है। तो पहले तो ये था कि उड़ीसा में बहुत सारे ऐसे रीजनल लैंग्वेज भी है जो बोलते भी हैं और लिखते भी हैं। एक तो मतलब वो हमारे लिए एक बहुत बड़ा मौका था, ताकि जो दूसरी लैंग्वेजेस है उनको सीखने के लिए। और बहुत सारी चीजें था जो हमें एनईपी के माध्यम से पता चला। थैंक यू सो मच कि ये फिर से कुछ नया सीखने को मिल रहा है, नया कुछ देखने को मिल रहा है। सेशन बहुत बढ़िया था मैम, थैंक यू।
Thank you. I am also learning from all of you.
Ma'am, the PPT was excellently prepared. It was really very informative, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you share that PPT? I can also share with the participants.
I will share with Dr. Pradeep, and
Yeah,
Dr.
please,
Pradeep can
please.
share with the group. I have no
Please.
issues. After the presentation, I will share it in the PDF form.
Yeah, sure. Last question by Dr. Pritha.
Yes, good evening, everybody present here. So I am Dr. Pritha Chaturvedi, a teacher of finance working at ICFA University, Jharkhand. But this question or concern is from the mother's point of understanding. Ma'am, my daughter is in her board. She will be giving her 10th examination this year. So would like to know from you that how is this NEP implementation going to affect the kids who are already into a structure and format that's there with
Dr.
the
Pritha, I would like to ask you, have you got some instructions or are there some guidelines on the CBSE? Because I have seen, see, my children have grown up. Okay, I have grown up children who have completed their first degree, and I have twin boys.
Okay.
One has already completed BTech Computer Science. He is already into a job. He's a full-time
Correct, ma'am.
engineer. And
Okay.
second one is already, ready to take up the world of work. Now, I think I have seen what my experience is that I have seen students giving exams twice. So, see, I don't have clear guidelines or clear instructions with me. If I have to update, I have to see the CBSE guidelines.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, she
Means,
is into her ICSE and the board is ICSE. We have not got any information regarding how it will be further taken, but this year she will be appearing for her board. And maybe after a year when she goes to 12th, she will again be appearing for the 12th board.
I have seen the children in my neighborhood. They have given the exam twice in one full year, and marks of both the exams were considered. This is what I know. I have not updated myself from CBSE website. I need to see that. But I have seen the children giving exams twice.
No, ma'am, I am basically concerned about the level that NEP talks about the preschooling and this, that. So whether there will be change with the structure, the students, if they are already into a kind of system and this thing, or for them, it will be the same old structure where they have, where they are.
Just see. The structure, 5 plus 3 plus 3, 4, which I mentioned just now.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
that structure is formed. What is expected, the skills or the activities or the discipline level, subject level, that is different for those years. Like out of the first 5 years, I talked that pre-primary is 3 years, that is playway learning. It's mainly
Yes,
playway
ma'am.
learning, है ना?
Yes.
So तो प्री प्राइमरी तो पहले भी था ना प्रीता?
Yes,
उसके
ma'am.
बाद मतलब उसके बाद जो फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड क्लास है, है ना? पहले हम 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 को प्राइमरी लेते थे, am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, अब ये जो फर्स्ट 2 इयर्स है, इनको भी हमने उसी 5 में डाल दिया है।
Yes,
Clear?
ma'am.
और
But ma'am, ये है
इसका
कि अगर इनका अगर नॉर्मल चले तो ये 10th के बाद she will be giving her 12th. But अगर NEP 20 अगर follow करे then the pattern would change. So ये क्या in near future and
नहीं,
what is the time?
No. See, Preetha, what I'm talking about, the last 4 years में उनको career specialization करना है, and they should have more details of the subject. Clear? That means 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. I'm not talking about the examination. I have not touched the examination here, that how they will be dealing with the exams. I have not seen the CBSE guidelines. I am talking about the curriculum and the pedagogy. How the curriculum and pedagogy will be dealing in the last 4 years, that is the secondary stage. It will be more specialization, more content, and more opportunity for selection of their stream. It was
But
not
ma'am,
regarded.
with the new curriculum, the evaluation, the progress, and this thing will also change.
Yes, will change. Should change.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Should
Okay,
change.
thank you. Thank
The
you, Dr.
main,
Pritha.
the main thing is this, that the entire emphasis cannot be given to one final exam, especially class 10th and 12th. There should be assessment through other means also. If
Thank
you are
you, ma'am.
talking about critical thinking and 21st century skills, so when you are including them in the objectives, you are transacting the curriculum keeping in mind the critical thinking skills and 21st century skills. So it's a part of the objective, it's a part of the curriculum, it's a part of the curriculum transaction. So it should also be assessed at the time of the examination. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pritha. All
I
the
will see the
participants.
CBSE guidelines regarding the implementation of the school education recommendations and what changes they have made to the website.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for such a
Thanks.
nice presentation. It is a great privilege for us. And again, putting you into trouble, I am extremely sorry to put you in trouble. As you know, madam's lecture was scheduled on tomorrow. However, the person who has to deliver today had some personal problems, so could not deliver. And tomorrow we don't have any presentation. And the presentation of our madam is rescheduled to prepone and rescheduled to today. Thank you so much for the nice presentation. And definitely we Gyanalok, NAPSI, OPSA and Utkal University, on behalf of organizers, I am extremely thankful to you. And we definitely also need the future collaboration with you to listen from you such beautiful deliberation. Thank you
Thank you
once
very
again.
much.
Good night.
Thank you very much. You know, it was a very theoretical content. So I was very apprehensive, explaining the terms, because there was hardly there, to show something. So I have just included few pictures to make it interesting, but it was otherwise totally theoretical content. And thank you very much for giving me this
No,
opportunity.
your presentation is well prepared. It looks attractive.
Okay, thank you. That's a very good feedback. See,
Thank you so
unless
much.
and until we interact, we don't get feedback, and we don't learn. So that is the main thing, that these interactions also give us a platform to learn. And thank you very much. Thanks a lot for your
Thank you
patient
so much.
hearing.
Thank you.
Thanks. I will share the
And
PPT.